Good evening and welcome to the September 17th edition of the Gold Ghosts and Guns Hour here on Periscope and YouTube. My name's Tom Luongo. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. So tonight we're going to start with the provocation in Syria. Well, first, the de-escalation of things in Syria, and then the immediate provocation in response to that. So earlier today, or yesterday, or whenever you want to talk about it, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Turkish President Erdogan signed an agreement on a demilitarized zone in Idlib that everybody would honor, including Jabhat al-Nusra, or whatever they're calling themselves this week, and everybody else. 15 to 20 kilometers wide. The whole purpose of it was to avoid the need for an entire block-by-block invasion of the province. The wiping out of all of the Erdogan and the United States' Slavist head choppers. Fuckmen! Sorry. It's tradition. So, here's the gig. So that happens. And that was unexpected. It's also the right move. Russia and Turkey pull a major bit of diplomatic judo on the US, the UK, France, everybody who was begging for the pro-Syrian forces to start invading Idlib so that they would have an excuse to attack. And this diplomatic overture agreement firmly puts Turkey in the camp on the side of the Russians, not NATO, because NATO wanted confrontation with Russia. It's going to give some opportunity here for the 10,000 people, the 10 to 20,000 fighters who are still holed up in Idlib to regroup. It'll lengthen the time necessary and needed to figure out a final solution in Idlib. But peace triumphed over war for a few hours, until the French and the Israelis decided this was not good enough and that we were going to war anyway. For an hour and a half, Latakia and areas around the, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, properly, the Yemeni Air Base were attacked by French missiles, which the Russian Ministry of Defense is saying that they were missiles fired from a French frigate, and they've named the frigate. And they've also said that at least 4 Israeli planes were carrying out bombing runs. The Russians in the process lost an Elant IL-20 EW plane. Hold on for a second. It was an Ilyushin 20. Part of the it's an Elant plane. It's an electronic intelligence platform. So side-looking airborne radar, the whole 9 yards. "14 Russian servicemen. The United States never won to act responsibly or act with any amount of prudence or class, said they think the Syrians shot it down. They were the first ones out there to say this. What? So that you What are you trying to do? The Russians already said we weren't involved in the attack. Why are you making this worse? Why are you trying to cover for Israel? I'm angry right now. I'll go off the rails. Why should it be that Syrian defense, the air defense forces, shot this plane down? That may be the case. If it is the case, that's a good thing. Because the alternative is that Israel shot the plane down, and Putin will have to respond. Netanyahu and the European deep state are playing a very, very, very dangerous game. They're looking for war. Peace is not allowed to be broken. It's not allowed to break out in Syria without Assad being removed from power. And at this point, I'm like, fuck it. Bomb them all. Turn the whole place into a fucking parking lot. I know that's not the right response. It gets me angry. Because under no circumstances should Israel been flying more planes over Latakia. Thordum is reminding me that it's impossible for the Syrians to have shot down that plane because all of their air defense systems are integrated with the Russians. You're absolutely right. They all have IFF systems. So this plane was shot down. My money's on the Israelis. My money is on that crazed war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu and his consigliere Lieberman, both of whom should be removed from office. What's Macron doing here, ordering the strike? The problem here is that both of them thought they were going to get a major escalation and hopefully get the... So, what were they hoping for here? That this would get us into a major escalation, and we get war. We get war between the United States and Russia by shooting down yet another Russian asset, by shooting down a Russian asset, and then in the fog of war, try to blame the Americans on it. The Israelis are insane. I'm not talking about the Israeli people. I'm talking about the Israeli government. It's insane. He's named the French already. Macron will have no defense for this. I know the French screwed up, Thordum. Thordum's telling me that he said, I think the French screwed up. I feel that the Russians hinting that they detected the French frigate indicates they know France did it. No, they named, and just read it on RT, they named the French frigate that fired the missiles. They have, they have the satellite imagery. It's not like they don't know who fired. So it's the first thing they did was to state that unequivocally. That puts Macron on his back foot. What's he going to do now? He's now a war criminal. He's now embroiled France in an unprovoked strike in Syria on the day that Putin and Erdogan brokered a peace deal. The Israelis now look like a bunch of warmongering fucking retards on the day that Putin and Erdogan signed a deconfliction agreement, getting Israel what they wanted, which was no final end. because I won't use the word solution to the Syrian civil war. What is Macron doing here? The bidding of somebody far above him. That's what he's doing. Man's got an approval rating in the mid-30s. It'll drop to the mid-20s over this. This may hurt Putin at home unless he can extract a major concession from somebody. Remember, his non-response to the Su-24 shoot-down in November of 2015, it's what started us down this path whereby Turkey is now flipping towards Russia and China. Is he going to use this now to extract a major concession out of Israel and an end to all of this? If he does, the Russian people may forgive him. They forgave him over the Su-24. It is something to consider. It's one thing for the French to have screwed up here. You can't ask for like sanctions relief over this. The United States won't allow it. Certainly not what's going on right now, what I've been writing about all weekend about Bill Browder and the attempt to destabilize the entire European banking system. What are we talking about here? I don't have a lot to say about this. I'm just kind of processing it all. It's bad. I don't know how bad, but you'll notice that the Americans in the United States, the Americans and the Russians continue to go out of their way to not get involved with each other militarily, while everybody else loses their mind. Silver lining here, the Russians and the Americans aren't shooting at each other. Silver lining here, the Russians and the Americans, as I've been saying all along, are not going to shoot at each other. Can Trump put pressure on Israel? I don't know. Can they? The unfortunate part, Thordium, is I don't agree with you because I don't think that it will hurt him a lot domestically because Russian hawks are only about 5% of the population. And I mean that sincerely. They're not a very strong part of the population. They're vocal. They're given a lot of vocal. They're given a lot of press time, but they're not very vocal. But they're not very numerous. Why would you get more? Why would Nikki Haley and Mike Pence be trying to get more sanctions on the Russia at this point? What, in response to what happened today? Then we all know that this is just going to end badly. That all of these people need to be removed from office. You tell me if it's ever going to end eventually. Putin was maneuvering into having to not wipe these guys out today by Erdogan. You can only say that maybe there's a silver lining to this, because this fundamentally places the French and the Israelis in the position of being the aggressors here. Because this attack didn't happen in first and then the peace deal between Erdogan and Putin announced. It was the other way around. Everybody knew that they were meeting today. Syria's CNN is. Why would you ever watch CNN? Fuck, RT is a better source than that. Why would you not use RT in a situation like that? All the American news sources are going to say that Syria shot it down. That's their cover story. They're covering for Israel at this point. That's who they cover for all the time. That story was out there. The friggin' plane hadn't hit the ground yet, and they were already out there saying that the Syrians shot the Russian plane down. I was looking through Twitter before I went online. You look at the timestamps on some of these tweets. Are like, how would you know that? I'm just looking for anything new in the Twitter feed. Yeah, CNN national security reporter Ryan Brown is saying the U.S. military believes that Syrian anti-aircraft artillery accidentally shot the Russian maritime patrol aircraft on Monday. So the U.S. military has never heard of an IFF transponder. Can Trump tell Netanyahu to stand down? Has he yet? Yes, this also happens on the same day that the Russians finally presented evidence that the Ukrainians shot down MH17, i.e. the serial numbers of the missiles that were recovered from the scene. We know it was Israel, Faith Virtue. We know it was Israel. The Americans are going out of their way to cover for Israel here. So why, Archie Bird, would in any way, manner, shape, or form Trump try to tell Netanyahu to stand down when he's never been able to do it in the 2 years he's been in office? Russia will use this as a diplomatic cudgel to beat the crap out of Israel and to beat the crap out of France. And to force the United States into an untenable position of having to defend Israel for shooting down a Russian plane. I know that Trump doesn't, if y'all haven't figured it out yet, Donald Trump's not in charge. He's not in charge of anything. He can't even get Kavanaugh through the friggin' he can't even shepherd Kavanaugh through the friggin' process over the SCOTUS confirmation over a 40-year-old high school incident between a boy and a girl, which happens at prep schools like that all the fucking time. He can stop the most crazed war criminal on the fucking planet right now from escalating World War III in his backyard? No, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but let's be blunt here. Trump's not in charge. But I'll say one thing. It's really obvious that Mattis is in charge of his military. Why would you assume that even if Trump told Netanyahu to stand down, then Netanyahu would listen to him? That Lieberman wouldn't just do whatever he fucking wanted to anyway? And the State Department, all those traitors in the State Department under that fucking used car salesman Pompeo, Waffle House fry cook Pompeo, wouldn't undermine him anyway. Trump's not in charge until after the midterms. And then only then if he continues to control the House. And only if he picks up 4 or 5 seats in the Senate. That's it. Otherwise, we'll have gridlock for the next 2 years, and they'll figure out a way to get rid of him and remove him from office. The U.S. is not going to drop funding to Israel as leverage. It's not going to happen. This is where reality has to step in. It's not what we want, it's what's reality. Reality is, in no way, manner, shape, or form will we ever be able to drop funding for Israel. How are you going to do that? You have an entire Senate that's owned and bought and paid for by fucking AIPAC, for Christ's sake. That's the unbelievably sad commentary on all of this. We're sitting here running around looking for the two Russian trolls who bought some ads on Facebook as the guys who influenced the friggin' 2016 election, when there's Israel standing right fucking there influencing the election. Yeah, no, RT's been saying missiles from a French frigate. I opened with that tonight. Faith Virtue. Putin will extract maximal pain out of the French over this. Reading the comment threads. No, you're good. I am, and I'm in a bad mood. Over this, I'm in a terrible mood. This is terrible. This is bad. I had a good day until this came up. Really good. Really. I'm never good on days like this. These are days when I lose. These are days when I lose subscribers. Khan Shakun, April of this year, Duma, now. People just walk out. Can't handle it. I know. I'm not worried about Putin. I am worried about what Thordoom has to say about, the worry that Putin's going to lose enough support to potentially cause him some political pain back home. I know that John Bolton is masturbating over the idea that Putin's approval rating will drop 5 points, and maybe that'll cause regime change in Russia. But let's be honest. I mean, let's absolutely be honest here. There is nobody in the Russian political system capable of taking over for Vladimir Putin. And the Russian people know this. It's why they voted for him the way they did not 6 months ago. Yes, so on a side note, Trump declassified all the FISA documents today. Devin Nunes is saying that they're going to declassify everything else. All going to be out there. And the Israelis and the French, who are probably involved in this at some level as well, along with the Brits and the Ukrainians, in trying to frame Trump. Probably staged this attack in order to try and start a wider provocation and hope. It's days like this that make me angry, because I know that Israel is overplaying their hand, and I know they're doing all of this, and it's not in their best interest. And why I get angry is because it's so unbelievably freaking stupid. But Netanyahu is a war criminal, a crazed ideologue. It's really that simple. He wants revenge for past transgressions. That's who he is. It's never going to end as long as that man's in power and his party's in power. Those people. And it's bad for Israel, not for the Netanyahu government and the crazed Zionists that, whatever those fucking people are. They're just, I don't care what they are. You call them Zionists, you call them, they're psychopaths. Doesn't matter. Bad for everybody. Dragon M says the neocons are desperate and ruthless. The deaths of 14 soldiers is no joke. You're absolutely correct about that. Russia will respond militarily, possibly. A measured response with a threat to escalate. I expect a missile attack by Russia. I would be surprised. But being the Italian hothead I am, I'm like, bomb somebody. The problem is that Putin can't attack, cannot reciprocate against anything the Israelis have, because to do so would then destabilize the situation even further. Because then the Israelis are going to go crazy, saying that you've made things worse and made it easier for Iran to wipe us out. And what I've been saying for a while, what I've been saying for weeks now, for a couple weeks now, is that there's not going to be a wider conflict. And that is, Israel would be stupid, and they are, to try and provoke a wider conflict, because everybody is gunning for them right now. Make no mistake, we haven't talked about Hezbollah. We haven't talked about Lebanon. If this shit really gets out of control, if this shit starts to fly, are you kidding me? The Lebanese are going to wipe Israel off the fucking planet. They won't need Iran. They won't need Syria. Everybody is itching for a friggin' excuse to do this. And the Israelis are like bending over and saying, yes, please kill us. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, this is the part I don't get. This is the part that drives me up a fucking wall. It's been driving me up a friggin' wall for 2 years now. It's insane. They're only hurting themselves, and Netanyahu is too freaking blinded to see what he's doing. Because he thinks that he's going to have the Americans will back him up to whatever end. And I've got news for him. It's not going to happen. Donald Trump is not going to start World War III because Netanyahu wants him to, and Sheldon Adelson thinks it's a good idea. It's not going to happen. Thornum says, but if Putin doesn't respond, he will lose the military. The military has to know he has their back. He can't afford to let Russians be killed and do nothing. Well, he did it in 2015. Russian pilot was killed in the Su-24 shoot-down, and he did nothing. But something will happen. But it won't be anything major. It won't happen in the press. Okay, so I like to use this example all the time. There were multiple incidents over the course of, yes, can Putin hit a black site? Or is that a trap? No, that would be what he does. What Putin does here is he turns around and he hits an Israeli black site. He has a whole bunch of Mossad killed, and their remains sent back to Netanyahu in a box. Or a coffee cup. And I'm not kidding. And the military will know it was done, but it will not be widely advertised. Putin's done this before. When we overstepped our bounds and shot down a Syrian airplane south of Raqqa as a warning not to go any further. This was one of Mattis's major miscalculations. The Russians turned around and they bombed a site in Daraa near the Jordanian border that wasn't part of any current operations, but where American and British mercenaries were stationed and British special forces were stationed, and they were all killed. But nobody could report it because they weren't supposed to be there. So don't worry. Putin will get his pound of flesh. He will keep the military on his side. But he's going to play the diplomatic game here. He has to. And if he doesn't, Katie bar the door. I don't know what else to tell you. 80 bar the door. It's all bad. The Israelis have to realize, and it's funny, I go back to things that were said to me during previous live streams months ago. I got into it about the Israelis for a while earlier in the year, around the time of the airstrike in response to the false flag attack at Duma. And I kept having all of these people defending Israel and saying, don't you understand their position? They're in a very vulnerable position, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, I understand all of that. And none of this is good for them. They should not be lashing out. They should not be trying to invoke the U.S. Tiger to strike on their behalf. Tactically and strategically, it's a losing proposition for them. So why are they doing it? Yes, we're talking Syrian escalations. Good evening, Lex. How are you? It's been a while. Couldn't get people to understand. Nope. You're just an anti-Semite. You hate Jews. You're a bad person. I'm like, okay, fine. Look, I have my biases, guys. I wear them on my sleeve. I've been better, dude. I'll be frank. I've been better. Today's not a good day. But I've got no love for the current Israeli government. And not one person I know of, and I know a lot of Jews, they feel the exact same way. This is all bad. Netanyahu's a war criminal. He's an ideologue. He's a bad man. And everything he does and everything he says is simply a projection onto everybody else, his own vile and evil character. All right, let's move on. Ari Magoo wants me to talk about Ukraine. So while this is happening, hey, Poroshenko in Ukraine just signed the order to end the friendship agreement between Russia and Ukraine, so that now they're going to go to war in the Sea of Azov, and guess who's pushing them to do that? The Americans. Is Browder getting desperate, Mark Bogosian? There are people who know where his bodies are buried. I know Browder's getting desperate. It's why he's having the European Parliament invoke Article 7 threats on Cyprus on his behalf. I wrote about that over the weekend. How can anyone like an Israeli government that's acting like the ISIS Al-Qaeda Air Force? They're on the side of evil. I don't know. If anybody from this crazy idiots in the West thinks that when Putin falls and is forced to come out, what comes after him will be nothing more than a hardcore nationalist, probably a communist. Oh, I know. This is the funny part about the way especially American libs, You talk to the American libs, because they've all been gaslit by the whole Browder, by the idiotic Browder story about how Putin, is just an evil, it's like evil incarnate, and all of this rotten nonsense. They have no idea what comes after Putin. They think they're gonna see, because these guys honestly think that they can just install their puppet, because we've got some puppets in the Kremlin, and we'll just install Khodorkovsky, who's the one agitating for most of this shit behind the scenes anyway. Don't kid yourself. He's the one paying all the freaking lobbyists. He's the one helping to pay all of Browder's bills. He's the one that's behind all this crap. Calling somebody an anti-Semite for criticizing Israel is like calling someone a sexist for refusing to vote for crooked Hillary. Well, yeah. The Ukrainians' bullshit story is already falling apart completely. The Ukrainians are insane. Who released info that the bomb that killed Zakharchenko was made in the U.S.? If you got a link to that, I'd love to see it. Don't put it in the chat. Put it in a comment below the live stream, please, so that's for everybody to find. Yep. That would be good, because I haven't seen that. But that's big. If they've released that information, that's fantastic, actually. Well, there are very few things in this life I'd like to see more than Bibi Netanyahu and Hillary swinging from gallows. Turning them upside down, hanging them from their toenails, and feeding them to dogs over the Washington reflecting pool. Better. But that's the Sicilian in me coming out. Yeah, the IT guy hasn't even gone to jail. Don't lose any sleep over that yet. Well, I don't give a, if Dawson's got it, he needs to put it out for the rest of the world to see. But if it sits in the corner of the world, me? Cruel? Never. We should observe a moment of silence today for the fall of a great patriot and a great American. He lost his battle on August 25th. I speak of one John McCain's brain tumor. Moment of silence. Few things will get me to take off my hat in public on this channel. A moment of silence for John McCain's brain tumor is one of them. How much more stupidity can we stand from these guys? A lot. We're going to have to. I went to see Jordan Peterson last night with my wife. Shoulder your load, baby. Clean your room. Actually, it was a great talk. Watching him go for an hour and 20 minutes. Talking about Egyptian mythology and all sorts of stuff. And it got me inspired to start doing I want to do some other things that are not necessarily geopolitical related that I need to work on the side. But it was a great talk. It was a great time. David Rubin was there as kind of the host of the evening and host of the Q&A. They're on tour together. Well worth watching if Peterson's you're going to be in your town. I recommend it. Every talk is different every night. He just kind of comes up with a couple of things he wants to talk about and then goes off and does his thing for an hour and a half. And it's actually really quite impressive to watch him do it. It was worth $38, let me tell you. And it's good to get a refresher course on what he is about and what he has to say. Really enjoyed it. What, they're going to be another round of allegations about Kavanaugh? Who cares? We're now into Anita Hill stuff now. I'm just waiting for somebody to bring a pubic hair and a Coke can into the hearing. I'm surprised we didn't see one. I'm surprised Cory Booker didn't bring a Coke can and a pubic hair into the thing, into the hearings. I mean, that's where we are. What else you guys got? I'm out of material. I don't care. Tired. Angry. Like these are nights when I feel like Alex Jones. You know, this is one of those nights where you're like, God damn it, it's freaking Zionist asshole. I mean, like this is what you want to. That's what you want to turn into during a night like this. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I mean, you know, I still fall on the side of don't think anything's going to get worse from here, and that these things always are always a one-off. What the hell was that? The Inter-Korean Summit is starting, which is a good thing. What are we getting our cold snap? I don't know. It's been hot. We finally got rain here for the first time in like 5 days because Florence has finally moved through, and now it's so low. We can actually get some low pressure and get back to our afternoon thunder showers. But yeah. What's good that the Inter-Korean Summit is starting? Is that Joanne around the Empire? No, I didn't see the Kinzinger called Assad the Butcher of Baghdad. He's trying to make himself a trying to make a name for himself now. I got news for you, dude. That's absolutely not the way you want to go. You want to go in the other direction. So Rocket Man says, I'm thinking that this Kavanaugh charade is meant to delay the confirmation until after October 1st, so the court will be deadlocked 4-4 on pivotal cases related to gun rights or religious liberty. It may be. It's all very tactical. It's not really very important. It's all just very tactical, but in the long run, it won't matter. There might not be a comment section until after on the stream until after it's become a post. That's true. You can put it in the chat, and I'll copy it out, I guess. Or I'll add it. If you put it in the chat, I'll just add it to the liner notes, which I have in front of me. I have no idea. I hadn't heard that either. It was true that that Barack Obama regrets his Libya actions, possibly a big blunder. I haven't heard that. But I try to avoid anything that comes out of Obama's mouth because I don't like to be annoyed. Contrary to popular opinion, I really don't like to be obstreperous and obnoxious. It just comes naturally. Who was it with the geographically challenged politicians? What is it with the geographically challenged politicians who like wars? I'm getting scared up here. Might get nuked by mistaken location. Well, I hate to break it to you, but I'm like not that far from a nuclear power plant and one of the major medical centers for the entire Southeast. So we're a secondary target, Gainesville, Florida. Will the GOP ever be shaken of AIPAC? Talk to user 13. She keeps saying that it's a generational thing. I happen to agree with her. So much of this is just about the generational shift that has to happen, and these people continue to hang on. The Feinsteins and the dregs of the silent generation, the McCains, the Feinsteins, the Schumers, the Pelosi's, but then past that, the boomers. And there's still some boomers that, baby boomers that need to be gotten rid of, and they haven't been put to pasture yet, and so we're going to have to deal with it. But beyond that, you have to realize that we're at this very, very ugly kind of point in time where we could easily tip over from a nation of laws to a nation of men. And that's what the deep state's pushing for now. That's what that's what Mueller's investigation is all about. That's what all of this stuff is all about. Bush Hog Boner. Wow, what a name. Did you see that the dirtbag Holder said MAGA means that we all want slavery? Ready? Holder is one of the protected mulattoes. Him, Valerie Jarrett, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, the rest of them. I don't listen to a freaking thing he says. Obama, I don't listen to a fucking thing he says. Or any of them. Yeah, Gen X has no love for this whole situation with Israel. None at all. You're absolutely right, User 13. The Gen X, even the libs are red-pilled on wars for Israel. Once the boomers are out, Israel's done. And that's why they're acting the way they are now. That's why they feel everything is such an existential threat right now, and why they're trying to create a new reality in Syria that will help them survive the next generation, because they know they don't have any support coming behind them. So that's why you're seeing what's his name? Netanyahu act the way he does. Yeah, User 13, that link from Ryan Dawson is behind the Patreon wall. North on 60. Netanyahu made a very big mistake today. Yeah, you know he did. Absolutely. He absolutely made a huge mistake today, but you know, it's not his first and it won't be his last. He's part of the protected class, but I think that we'll see what happens. Scott Carey. I don't think the Russians will attack France. The Russians will extract other concessions from France. That's how that will work. That's the way Putin operates. He will extract reparations from France. He will extract concessions on other things. He will get something from Macron that he needs. Did I play ice hockey? No. I'm a huge hockey fan. I was for years. I used to run a blog. But no, the keep your stick on the ice, yes, is a reference to hockey, but it's the closing line of the Red Green show. So I'd like to think of myself as an honorary Canadian, the good Canadians, you know. And if you ever watch Red Green, which is basically Canadian redneck sketch comedy, then you know exactly where that comes from. Huge hockey fan. Just not anymore, because I have a famous name of a last name of a goalie who always chokes in the big game. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I mean, yes, keep your stick on the ice. It's like rule number 1 in hockey. Be prepared to accept the pass. Good players keep their stick on the ice and keep themselves prepared. And it's the whole theme of Gold, Goats, and Guns is emotional preparedness for chaos, right? Doesn't matter if we're talking investments, we're talking geopolitics, if we're talking culture war, it doesn't matter. Be emotionally prepared to accept whatever comes your way. I couldn't do the Trailer Park Boys for some reason. I couldn't. I couldn't. Even if Alex Lifeson is a huge fan and has been on the show, couldn't do it. Big Rush fan. Come on. Canada's created some of my favorite things in the world. Rush, hockey, Shania Twain's ass. I mean, yes, Red Green is on public television. It is a great metaphor. There's a little bit of art in all of this, by the way. You have to remember that this is not, I mean, the live stream is kind of anarchic, right? I mean, I do like 20 minutes worth of opening commentary, and then after that, it just kind of devolves into, you know, whatever the hell I feel like responding to. So, oh, BTO, no, not me, no, sorry, not going there. But what am I going to tell you? And red green. Worst presidents in history. All right. You guys got anything else? Because I'm not sure I really want to do this anymore tonight. No offense. It's not that you guys aren't awesome, but I'm just not feeling it right now. I got to figure out what I'm going to... I got to write something for strategic culture tomorrow. So now I got to like redux all this and then write something else. Triumph. Fight the good fight. Alex Jones has a chance to clear the rumors that he's Mossad. Yeah. You know how? You know why? Yeah, he should come out and condemn Israel right now. Yeah, if he condemns this attack. Green Penguin, I agree with you completely. That's a very, very, very good point. Because Alex has been dogged by a lot of this stuff, a lot of those rumors for a long time. Can you do me a favor and adopt Justin Trudeau and his fake eyebrows to a retirement community down there? No. You're not turning my fucking state purple. No. You send that asshole to Idaho, where there's no chance of him having any effect on the U.S. electoral system whatsoever. Always been a brunette guy first, not Pamela Anderson. Shania Twain over Pamela Anderson every day of the week. Sorry. All right. Anything else? Yes, no? Good? Up, down? Deal. Just get him out of here. Great. All right. So with that said, if you guys like what you heard tonight, I doubt you did because this was not one of my better shows. Give a like and subscribe down below. We had a great day on YouTube this morning. And we're nearing 700 subscribers. Pass the word around. Pass the hat. Do whatever you have to do. Let's get this thing up to 1,000 so I can turn on super chats and find out just what Google's going to say when they say my channel can't be monetized. Am I optimistic on the whole? I don't know. Give me another evening to, give me another day to think about it and another 12 or 1,300 words for strategic culture to figure it out. You guys take care. You have a great afternoon. Be safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice.